The biggest mistake people make when dealing with toxic individuals is believing they care about the truth. So they waste their time trying to win arguments with people who only care about protecting their own version of reality. You have probably done it yourself. You think you're fighting for respect, but every reaction hands them a little more control over your mind. The psychological reality is brutal. Many arguments are not battles for truth. They are battles for emotional control disguised as conversations. Highly intelligent people do not play this game. They look at toxic behavior not as a personal declaration of war, but as a mechanical system driven by internal deficits. If you do not learn how to decode this machinery, you will spend your life being a puppet for people who don't even have control over themselves. To shift from understanding to application, we move into practical strategy. Here are the 7 smart ways to handle toxic people. Number 1. The economy of attention. To understand why a toxic individual seeks a reaction, you must understand their internal economy. Toxic behavior rarely stems from calculated villainy. More often, it's a desperate coping mechanism for emotional immaturity and a chronic lack of internal validation. A person trapped in this state cannot generate their own sense of worth, so they must import it from their environment. If they can't earn your admiration, they'll settle for your anger. To them, your rage is a form of currency because it proves they possess the power to alter your emotional state. Robert Greene observed that some people are driven by a deep-seated insecurity that forces them to constantly test the boundaries of others. When a toxic person initiates an argument, they are not seeking a resolution. They are seeking confirmation that they matter enough to disrupt your life. A smart person realizes that denying them a reaction is not a game of passive aggression, but a refusal to fund their emotional deficit. Number 2. The narrative trap. Toxic people do not choose their targets at random. They look for individuals who possess a specific kind of psychological vulnerability. The disturbing truth is that people rarely manipulate your weaknesses. They manipulate the story you secretly tell yourself about those weaknesses. If you have an unresolved need to be perceived as kind, a manipulative person will accuse you of being selfish to watch you overcompensate. If you are desperate to be seen as competent, they will question your judgment to make you scramble for their approval. Machiavelli wrote that a leader must understand the hidden motivations of those around them to avoid subversion. Smart people realize that a manipulator is merely reading an unspoken script provided. By identifying the exact story you are trying to project to the world, the toxic person knows precisely which string to pull to make you dance. Number 3. The threat of objectivity. Intelligent people do not confuse toxic individuals because they fight back, but because they introduce a terrifying element into the dynamic: absolute neutrality. A toxic person operates entirely within an emotional reality where facts are malleable and feelings are absolute. They use exaggeration, guilt, and revisionist history to maintain their self-image as either the hero or the victim. When they encounter someone who refuses to match their emotional pitch, their entire worldview undergoes an identity crisis. Carl Jung noted that everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. When a smart person responds with cold, clinical facts instead of emotional defensiveness, they act as a mirror. They force the toxic individual to look at the absurdity of their own behavior, an experience so uncomfortable that the manipulator will often retreat simply to avoid their own internal shadow. Number 4. Psychological non-participation. True silence is not a passive surrender, nor is it a childish silent treatment. It is a conscious decision to stop participating in a broken system. The moment you stop trying to be understood by someone committed to misunderstanding you, your power returns. Rather than acting as a weapon of terror, silence serves as a protective shield for your mental clarity. It halts the cycle of emotional escalation before it can consume your day. When you choose not to respond to a provocative comment, you disrupt the predictable pattern of attack and defense. You leave the manipulator alone with their own toxicity, forcing them to experience the weight of their own words without the distorting shield of your counter-arguments. It is an intelligent acknowledgement that some conversations are structurally incapable of producing truth. Number 5. The boundary paradox. When you begin to implement hard boundaries, the toxic person will not respect them. They will aggressively resist them. This is the moment where most people fail because they mistake the increased friction for a sign that their strategy is wrong. In reality, resistance often proves that your boundaries are working. A boundary is not a polite request for good behavior, it is a structural fact. Friedrich Nietzsche warned that those who fight monsters must take care that they do not thereby become a monster themselves. When you communicate a boundary, an emotionally immature person experiences it as an act of rejection or an attempt at control. They will test your limit by pushing harder, trying to find a crack in your resolve. A smart person expects this resistance and does not waste energy re-explaining the rule. They simply allow the consequence of the boundary to stand, knowing that a boundary only has power if it is enforced when it is most inconvenient. Number 6. The extinction burst. The most dangerous phase of dealing with a toxic person occurs when their traditional methods of manipulation completely stop working. In behavioral psychology, this is known as an extinction burst. When a behavior that used to guarantee a specific result suddenly yields nothing, the individual does not immediately stop. They escalate the behavior to an extreme degree in a desperate final attempt to regain control. They will spread rumors, attempt to damage your reputation, or orchestrate a public crisis to force you into an emotional explosion. The most dangerous toxic person is not the loud one, it is the one who convinces you that managing their emotions is your responsibility. During an extinction burst, their desperation is fully exposed. A smart person recognizes this terrifying escalation not as a defeat, but as a sign of imminent victory. It means the manipulator has run out of tools and is burning through their remaining fuel. Number 7. The internal mirror. Ultimately, the most profound realization an intelligent person uncovers is that toxic encounters are rarely about the other person at all. They are a diagnostic tool for your own soul. If someone can destroy your peace with a single phrase, they have exposed an area within you that has not yet healed. Why do you feel an addictive urge to prove your innocence to someone whose opinion you do not even respect? Why does a false accusation cause an agonizing panic in your chest? These reactions reveal your own unresolved insecurities, your fear of abandonment, or your toxic need for universal validation. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. By turning your attention away from the manipulator and toward the trigger itself, you reclaim ownership of your mind. You realize that the toxic person did not create the weakness, they merely found it. Once you heal that internal wound, their ability to control you vanishes completely. However, choosing to navigate the world with this level of psychological clarity comes with a hidden cost that few self-help guides are willing to admit: a profound and heavy loneliness. When you stop engaging with drama, you quickly realize how much of modern social architecture is built entirely upon it. You will look at your social circles and discover that several relationships were sustained solely by a mutual habit of complaining or a shared addiction to chaos. When you refuse to play your part in these loops, people will drift away. They will call you cold, distant, or changed. You will lose friendships, find yourself excluded from familiar gatherings, and experience a distinct sense of isolation as you become radically selective with your attention. It is a quiet, sober space, but it is within this exact isolation that your authentic autonomy is born. You trade the cheap validation of a chaotic crowd for the deep, unshakable stability of self-mastery. The next time you find yourself on the verge of an emotional collision, stop. Do not offer an explanation. Do not attempt to correct the distortion. Look past the provocative words and see the underlying panic of a person who cannot regulate their own internal world. Recognize that they are trapped in a prison of their own making, and your anger is the only thing that can temporarily distract them from their own confinement. Smile internally, step back, and let the theater play out without your presence. You have a life to build, and your attention is too valuable to be spent buying someone else's chaos. Transitioning from a participant in drama to an observer of human behavior requires an ongoing commitment to your own psychological maturity. The world will always have an abundant supply of unhealed dynamics, but their power over your life extends only as far as your willingness to engage with them. If this deeper look into the human shadow offered you a meaningful perspective, consider subscribing to the channel. Leave a comment below with the phrase, "The circuit is broken," to signal that you have completed this analysis. The true test of intelligence is not how aggressively you defend your ego, but how effectively you protect your mind from the noise of the world. Let the noise fade out and keep your focus exactly where it belongs.